Everyone, now this is the another part of chapter 14, which is the Visual Basic for Applications VBA. So it's also called the macros. Macros is like, what happens behind the scenes. This is, whatever you see in Excel is like, blue screen, what they call it, because you are having a very good user interface and you just click and it happens, or you just write here, for example. This will be an example, but I will show you. Say that I have 4, I have 5, and I have 6. So what you do is that you say that equal to average, and then you just select these numbers, okay, and then it gives you the average. But it is just, you don't know what happens behind the scene. This is what you see. We can say it as blue screen. Yeah, but that is to know what happens behind the scene. You have to know the Visual Basic part of the Excel, so that you can do the things that did not allow to you to do here. Say that there is something that you want to do, but it's not included in the functions. And in that case, you need to write your own code. But this Visual Basic code is just a little bit old, but the people use it. If you are interested, you can use. But here I will just talk a little bit about it. But it's a very, I have the call it as it's a deep ocean. There are lots of things in this Visual Basic for Applications, also called VBA. Let me say one example here. Say that I have a velocity and it is 120 meters per second, and I'm trying to calculate the kinetic energy for that given velocity. And this kinetic energy is that, say that kinetic energy is half times the mass. Mass is 1. I will take it as 1, but you can go, I'm trying to make it as simple as possible. Then is velocity squared. So then this will be my kinetic energy. So instead of writing the formula each time, let's say that you are trying to write your own code in Excel that it calculates the kinetic energy for you. What you do in that case is that you go to the developer tab here. If you don't have the developer tab, you go to File, and then you go to Options, and then it should be Customize Ribbon, and then here you have the developer. You just click on it and it will be visible. As I told, it's programming. It's a very, very different direction. But I'm trying to show you what happens here. Okay. Then I will say that the developer tab becomes active, and then you go to your Visual Basic. In that Visual Basic, so I did actually here. Let me just erase it. Okay. So what you are doing is that you will write your own code, but it will be for VBA sheet of the Excel. Okay. The first thing is that you put the sub. It's like, what's the name of your code. This will be code, kinetic energy. I will say that kinetic energy, my code. Okay. And then you see, as soon as I press the enter, it just puts the end part of this sub procedure or sub program, and then now the part is to write the code. So to write the code is that first I will need to select that is the cell that I want to be the velocity. So what it will be is that it will be velocity will be equal to the range. Range means here the cell. The cell is that D3, and then D3, and it will be its value. Okay, the value of the D3, it will be the cell. Okay, and then I will have the kinetic energy, and the kinetic energy is 1/2 times the velocity, and then to the power of 2, and times the mass, and I will take mass as 1. I'm telling you that you can take the mass as a variable, but this is just to show you how it works. It's not a coding class. And then you just go to range and you select the E4 as your new cell, and I'm saying that the value of the E4 should be the, sorry, actually it should be E3, yes. Doesn't matter at the end, but we are trying to be consistent with our formula here. And then I will say that it will be kinetic energy. Okay, and then you save it. As soon as you save it, let me just minimize it. As soon as you save it, in your case, it may ask, do you want to save it as macro enabled? You should say yes, otherwise it will not work. And then you come back to your Excel, okay? And then in Excel, you just click on macros. You see that kinetic energy my code, okay? And this is, as soon as you save it, it appears here, okay? And then you say that run. It just calculates the kinetic energy for you. And I can change the value here, for example, 50. And each time you have to run your macros. Okay, run it and it calculates 20. And then macros and then run it. You can do much more complex things, but I mean, it depends when are you going to use this VBA. But this is just what happens, you know, behind the scenes. And for example, you are taking the average of it, yes. And in here in the VBA, what is it? Is that you just select the cells and divide by the number of the cells. Okay. Thanks for watching, and this is I think the last video of this chapter.